Since 2019, Classic WoW has changed so much, starting with the no changes mentality, all the way to all the changes with Season of Discovery. We've gone from reliving those glory days in OG Classic to taking on Illidan in the BC, and then facing off against the Lich King in Wrath. But now that Cataclysm's here and progressing, Season of Discovery's at level 60, the real question is, where does Classic WoW go from here? So let's rewind a little bit. Classic WoW drops in 2019, and it was like stepping back into 04. The hype was extremely real. People were back in OG Azeroth, exploring every corner like it was the first time. We saw long login queues, epic world PvP battles, and that sense of community that made WoW the best MMO of all time in the first place. And then 2021 rolls around. We get BC, more content, more nostalgia. People were really excited to dive back into Outland. And then we flash forward to 2022. Wrath drops. And for a lot of us, that was peak WoW. Story, the raids, atmosphere, everything was awesome. But with each expansion, it started to feel like the clock was ticking and we were growing further from what Classic WoW was. How long could Blizzard keep this up without losing the magic of what makes Classic classic? And in an effort to do just that, they decided to mix things up a little bit. Hardcore WoW brought that one life, no excuses challenge, which was a test of skill, patience, and game knowledge to make sure that you could make it to level 60, and even beyond that all the way to Nax. Season of Mastery, bad timing for them, but sped things up a bit, added tougher raids, and basically cranked Classic to a little bit of a new level to where raids weren't so face roll and some of the content was just a little bit harder. And then now we've got Season of Discovery, which, let's be honest, it's definitely been a wild ride. Season of Discovery is really where Blizzard started experimenting with new mechanics, new content, new items, new zones, and it's been really cool to see them try new things. But it's also raised some eyebrows. There's been a lot to talk, about whether they've gone too far from what Classic WoW is supposed to be. And sure, it's fun to have new experiences, but I can't help but feel like we're drifting away from what that original Classic experience that brought everybody back was. And old me would probably be pessimistic about this in a sense. Before 2019, I would truly believe Blizzard would not listen to a thing I say and would not be interested in even exploring something further. But as we've seen over the past few years, and I truly buy into this, the current Classic WoW team is doing their absolute best to appease the player base. And with the new Classic Plus surveys that have come out, I think it's kind of a telltale sign that they're interested in exploring something further, and that Season of Discovery has been a testing ground from the very beginning. So if you've been around the community, you've probably been seeing these Classic Plus surveys popping up and the screenshots, other content creators reacting to that. Blizzard's, in short, if you're unfamiliar, has been asking for feedback on what people want to see in that potential Classic Plus version. And it's sparked a ton of debate. I think everybody has in their head their own idea of what Classic Plus can look like, so not everybody's going to be happy. Are we talking about entirely new content that respects the original game, or are we heading into a territory that just might end up diluting what made Classic great? One of the big discussions that revolves around how Season of Discovery shows us the risks. Blizzard tried to shake things up, and it's clear they've gone a bit overboard. We're seeing that. While some of it is really cool and innovative, it seems to push too far away from the original Classic experience. And people are asking, how can we get back to that original feel while still making the game feel fresh and exciting and able to draw in new players rather than just having the same hardcore niche player base that is currently occupying all the Classic variants. So we're not going to dig into it too much in this video, but I want to pose a question: what would a successful Classic Plus look like? In my opinion, like I said, it's all about finding that balance. So you run of the mill, everybody's saying this, new zones, quests, and dungeons that feel like they belong in Azeroth. Not something that feels out of place. I think Demonfall Canyon is a really good first step to this, and some of the changes they've made in raids and dungeon content to Season of Discovery could work. But again, there is still that ebb and flow of some things that feel a bit out of place and some that feel really good. Classes could be retuned, and I'm not saying to Season of Discovery's level. Not to, make them super overpowered, but how can we enhance the roles they were originally meant to play? Think, again, what Blizzard tried with SOD. Some of the ideas really weren't bad, even though a large majority of the player base is pessimistic about it. I think we all can agree that the boundaries have been pushed a bit too far. If Blizzard can pull off a Classic Plus variant, I believe it could be the next big thing for WoW, but they have to be extremely careful, and these surveys are so crucial to understanding. I even think give more people the ability to vote and receive these surveys to talk about what they want to see in Classic, and take the RuneScape approach of polling the big ideas of what people want, not necessarily the minutes of, hey, should warrior have this, or should druid have this, or priest have this, because everybody's going to have their own internal bias for their class. The core of Classic WoW is, truly that sense of authenticity. The grind, the community. Mess with that too much, and they could very well end up alienating the very players who have kept Classic alive in the first place. So, let's ask the question again. Where does Classic WoW go from here? The truth is, and I know a lot of you don't want to hear this, it's up to Blizzard and us. We've been along for the ride since day one, and our feedback is truly going to shape whatever comes next. Whether Classic Plus becomes a new chapter we all love, or something that we'd rather forget, one thing is for sure. Classic isn't over yet, and there's still a lot of potential in Azeroth and OG Classic WoW, and it's going to be an interesting one to see how it all plays out. Shout out real quick. If you've made it this far, thanks for sticking along. I'd love to hear what you think. Are you excited about Classic Plus, or are you worried it might stray too far from what makes Classic great? Make sure to drop a comment below and let's get the conversation going. Also, don't forget, I'm starting a Discord server. It's linked in the description. We have a solid base group going over there, always talking about WoW, theory crafting, and just hanging out, and even talking about other MMOs and other games we're playing. And if you're looking for more content on MMOs, I got plenty of videos breaking down everything from latest SOD news to Classic's greatest hits to maybe even a little PvP here and there. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. Peace.